got some exciting and engaging next level conversations that we're going to be having here with Director of Sales and Marketing for Ibexis products. We're going to be talking about the FIA Plus today. Before we get started, I'm going to share with you a little bit of our story. For those of you that are joining the audience for the first time, taking a look at us, like many of you that have been joining our YouTube site, maybe listening to this and recording, I want to make sure we cover information about you, and thank you for joining, and our existing producers that may be attending as well. Appreciate your partnership and patronage as well, and we'll have some items we'll go through here in a second for you as well. So we'll go ahead and get started here, and we can get our main event going. So if you are new with IAMS, I do want to briefly cover, and anything that we cover today, by the way, will be sent to you via email as a follow-up package after the event. But I do want to cover, if you're new with us, in your first 180 days with IAMS, your partnership with us, you have a producer builder enhancement program. So essentially, during your first 180 days of licensing with IAMS, when you submit business, you're going to receive, when you hit certain levels of production, you're going to receive an opportunity to get cold hard cash or marketing assistance, or even an iPad. And so if you see here on the screen, I'll cover a couple of the levels, and then we can discuss further offline when you see the material. But essentially, for $100,000 in annuity premium, like our FIA Plus we're going to be covering today, during your first 180 days, simple case of $100,000, and you have your choice between an iPad or $750 in cash, or we'll cover a 1,500-piece postcard mailing. Sky's the limit. Just had a gentleman with one of my other partners here submit close to $750,000, probably before his 180 days is done. We'll have that set up, and that would equate to a 4,500 lead credit using digital leads as an option, or working with you on a guaranteed 50 buying unit workshop, essentially an opening appointment with a large number of individuals, 50 guaranteed buying units, completely covered. And if you are working on something that works very well in your practice, we can explore those options as well to cover a part of your business expenses. The key here is to get you jumping with IAMS, get you off to a good start. We want to compensate you for that. So if you have any questions, definitely talk to your business development director or myself, Justin Ford, and we'll be getting this information out to you. But raise your hand, let us know if you're shooting for this, if you're in your first start with IAMS, and we'll be letting you know the same, and be happy to coach you through and make sure we get these bonus levels hit. In addition to that, if you are new with us, it's very possible that you came to us through a introduction or referral. Many of the existing producers that may be joining us today may have referred people as well. And it's the core of our business. Just like your business, introductions and referrals are the warm potential way to get in front of the group that you really work well with. And we appreciate our patrons, our partners here. On the referred producer program, here's how we're going to compensate you for that. So there's more. When you refer someone or introduce someone to us, my licensing team and myself are going to take care of licensing them with IAMS, and you'll receive a $50 one-time bonus when that agent contracts with us, sent to you in cash. And then beyond that, we're going to pay you on their business for the life of them being with IAMS. And the way that works, it comes out of our pocket, not the agent's or not yours. So the agent will still earn their regular compensation, you'll earn yours, but IAMS will pay them out. We're going to pay them 20 basis points on, or pay you rather, 20 basis points on their indexed annuity premium, 10 basis points on multi-year guaranteed, 75 on single premium life, 15 on target for life insurance. So if you do have someone to refer, definitely let us know. We definitely appreciate that. If we can help someone out there get to the level that you are, or anything that we've helped you with, if we can do that same thing for a producer that thinks like you and operates like you and that you're close to, we'd love to talk to them, and we'll pay you for it. In addition to that, we're going to, for the life, beyond the 180 days, if you start with IAMS, if you're an existing producer with IAMS, you have a marketing reimbursement account. The way this works is for every, as an example, $100,000 in indexed annuity premium, we're going to put $100 into your marketing reimbursement and business expense account. That does not expire. It grows. It can be used for business and marketing expenses to get you in front of new people to see, maybe even to highlight some of these new unique solutions we're going to be talking about today with Ibexis. or to get in front of existing clientele that you would like to. And you're going to be able to use that and reimburse through IAMS. That's in addition to your commission, in addition to your first 180-day bonus with us if you're working with us in those first 180 days, and on top of any referred producer bonus that you may receive as well. So those are additional ways that we help compensate our producers here. If you have any questions, or if you'd like to check your marketing balance, talk to your marketing director today, or myself, Justin Ford here at IAMS. So once the business comes in and once we all get paid, we've got to follow it through the process. So one of the things that we provide, that we pride ourselves on here at IAMS, IMO independently owned to this day, started in the late 80s, is our back office support. We are sought after for our service. For many of you that have been with us for a while, or if you're just joining us, you may realize we do not have voicemail here, and that's our 2-ring guarantee that started it all. It started out as a 3-ring guarantee, and we shoot to answer those calls as fast as we can. You'll always get a live person at IAMS. You'll always have access to business building tools and resources, whether you're on our website after hours or you have a question during the day. That includes case design assistance, everything from estate planning and tax assistance. We have a legal team and estate planning attorneys on retainer or a service that we can utilize to pull them into cases for advanced questions. And in addition to that, the design that my team and the annuity group and life teams do here at IAMS to help design your cases where you may need assistance. Illustrations all the way through just running an idea across on how to position a number of products to meet a client's needs. In addition to that, forms. Anything that you need to cover that case. Just as an example, you talk with me about a case, I'm going to be looking at, are your contracts in order? Is your state product training up to date? Your required pre-sale product training? All that stuff that we love to add to our list that unfortunately is a part of doing business nowadays. We would like to be your employee, but without having to be on the payroll, essentially. So we're going to be looking out for ways to make sure that that goes as smooth as possible, get you the forms you need. Sometimes it's after hours, and you can access many of the forms right from our website at your fingertips 24 hours a day. If you have any questions about our website, we'll be talking about that in a second, but I'd be happy to answer any of those as well. And essentially submission to commission support, following up with you on the commissions all the way through, submission all the way through commissions as it states here. Life and annuity quotes we covered. Top collaborative expertise. When it comes to sales expertise and coaching, one of the areas that we are different, that we stand out here at IAMS, is we are considered what you would call a collaborative marketing organization. And what I mean by that is, many of you may have recognized we ask for feedback. You may be working on projects with us here, whether it's our creative team or our staff. We pride ourselves in getting into that collaborative approach to where we're collaborating with you on ideas that are in line with your growth strategies for the year, whether that be getting in front of more people to see, whether that be hiring staff, making a decision whether that's appropriate or going to the next level, all the way through signage, how your office is set up, advertising, branding, etc. We want to collaborate with you because you are part of IAMS. When we work together, as you grow, we'll grow. And that's just the way we believe it should be. Paperless contracting as well, which initiates the process. We can do that all through Surance Bay, our system here internally. So one call does it all, or one click on our website does it all. Speaking of the website, if you haven't got out to the website, definitely do. There's some areas out on the site, one of which is our Sales Resource Center that will cover, it's an entire Google database for financial services, third-party material that is put together, that is tax qualified and appropriate, has all the disclosures on it, and at the type of a button, you can simply type in buy-sell agreements or Section 162 plans as an example. It will pull up a complete document, making you look as smart as you are in paper form without having to worry about is it compliant or not. And those can even be customized, everything from buy-sell agreements all the way through a simple description of what a multi-year guarantee annuity is or tax deferral can be customized to your practice to make sure that we're being the velvet behind you as the diamond and making sure that you shine in front of your clients and they know your level of expertise. Forms online, we talked about industry links. You can also sort and search annuities down to the crediting strategy, surrender length, free withdrawal, who offers flexible premium, who offers bonuses, use the same service that many of us internally here use right through our website, and that's both for indexed annuities as well as multi-year guaranteed annuities. If you have an immediate annuity or income quote, you can email us for the immediate annuity. We have the ability of doing income rider reports comparatively on our website as well as resources for long-term care insurance, single premium life, you name it. Term insurance quotes right from our website. You can actually do a term quote and apply for that application using IGO and have that all wrapped up on our website today. We do use Firelight. For the majority of our annuity carriers are in line with Firelight. Many companies coming on board, seen cases issue, cash with application occur very quickly within 24 hours. Definitely, if you haven't registered for Firelight on our website, it's free to do. You'll want to go out to our website, click Register for Firelight under e-application solutions, and we will lock you in so your next application, your marketing director can coach you through filling out that application and getting paid faster, making it easier for the client and reducing the not in good order paperwork and errors that many of us run into when we're trying to navigate what the carrier may be describing on the applications, which I found they are not all the same verbiage. So thank you for Ibexis for making yours simple. As you can see here, more and more companies coming on board every day. Firelight is a cornerstone in our industry for annuity and some life applications. We still use iPipeline. The majority of our life insurance applications, term and IUL, will use IGO through our website as well. So you can completely go through our website. If you do like paper forms, you can order those there or call us and we'll get those sent out to you as well for the carriers that offer their products and paper applications. Creative marketing solutions. Speaking about the diamond behind us being the velvet behind you, the diamond, we understand that there is a lot of collaborative effort. There's a lot of resources in each community. You are in your community serving needs that retirees have. The largest and the most concerning stage of their life, the most important stage of their life, many unknowns, retirement. And you're helping them navigate through this. You're also a business owner. And if we can help you look as good as you actually are to your clients and their community that may not know you, we'd like to believe that that can establish stronger trust. It can also allow your clients to be extremely proud of who they're partnered with and allow you to get referrals better through a consistent approach. When you're getting a referral or have a referral coming in, that referral or introduction should follow technically the same process of onboarding that your other clients have. And we can do that via making sure your image, everything from your business card, your email signature, all the way through your online and social media is all in line. When it comes to unique marketing, as we approach, as an example with retirees, as we have layoffs or companies going through changes or plan document changes, we can employ what's called digital geofencing as an example. And what that means is we can draw a digital map around a corporate office as an example, Colgate-Palmolive as an example. And anybody within that office with a digital device, whether they're on Facebook, Google, will begin to see advertisements for you referring to, you may want to check in with me if you've got changes to your plan. Timely and very specific information. So if you have a question about anything in our Creative Marketing Solutions department, let us know, and we'd be happy to help put that together for you. I would mention on the Creative Marketing Solutions, if you haven't worked with us on a marketing analysis yet, that's where we typically start these conversations. We'll do a complete analysis, which starts with an interview going through your practice as it is today and where you'd like it to be. And that allows us to then come back with solutions, turnkey solutions that we would recommend based on what you would like to accomplish and what we see working out there. And again, we get back on the phone after that first call and we have a collaborative approach to putting together that step-by-step marketing plan. And we've got the team of people right behind us that are eager to jump on taking each one of those action items and getting them done for you. So it is a complete working plan, which right now, many of us may have that plan in our head, but getting it on paper and evaluating it with a set of true creative marketing professionals is something that we offer here at IAMS, and we appreciate your business. Those of you considering getting your 65, Series 65, those of you that would love to not have to battle with transferring companies, in other words, hit a button and do something called an ACAT transfer. When you want to issue money, capture a client's account, earn the trust, and issue an annuity contract at the push of a button using what they call an ACAT transfer. That's a lot simpler, having a Series 65 license in many cases. And it's also a potential revenue move. Advisors that have their Series 65, their practices typically make more money than without, and you're building a ongoing recurring monthly revenue stream. We can help with this. So whether you're underneath an RIA now and you're looking at transitioning, or maybe you have your series licenses and you're with a broker dealer and you'd like to get out from underneath that and just have your 65, or maybe you're an RIA and you'd rather not to deal with the compliance hassles of that and you'd like to be underneath a strong insurance-based or insurance understanding wealth management team, IAMS Wealth Management can help. Or if you're just looking at getting your license and you'd like some help with where do I start, I want to have this added to my practice, this revenue stream, we can help you with that as well. Just give us a call today. Duncan and the team at IAMS Wealth Management can definitely help get you on your way. 2-day training. So our Life and Annuity Academy is back in full force. We have one coming up here in August. Many of you may be already registered for that event. We'll have further dates coming out. This is where steel sharpens steel. The number of ideas, sales ideas, strategies from not only top producers that work with IAMS, but leading producers and leading vendors in the industry, from the top insurance carriers all the way through top advisors running their practices, sharing secrets to their success, and in the same room with 30 to 50 other producers that are also sharing those ideas. It's priceless. And we fly to pay you out here. We partner with the insurance carriers to help with that cost. And we're looking for advisors who are looking at adding more to their acumen and would like to rub elbows with others. So if you haven't registered for one of our Life and Annuity Academies, I'd highly recommend getting on the list. You can do that now simply by going to IAMSacademy.com and registering, and we'll reach out to you and negotiate some times that work for you and our events coming up and get you scheduled for one of those top marketing events here coming up. We do have an annual trip. I've got an older PowerPoint here, but essentially one thing that's different about our annual producer trip here at IAMS is we do a 18-month qualification period. So for those of you coming on board with IAMS, not quite in a full year, you have a little more time than other groups that I've worked with to qualify. That essentially equates to about $4.5 million in what we call points, or $4.5 million dollar for dollar in annuity premium. Would get you into that trip during the 18 months. So over 18 months, $4.5 million in production, which started back in July 1st of last year and goes to the end of this year. That trip is coming up. We're going to be heading out to the Seaside Sanctuary in Kiawah Island, South Carolina. Beautiful event. We have an additional slot for our top 20 as well. They'll be staying some extra days at the Charleston Place in historic downtown Charleston, and this includes a guest. Join us. If you're looking at joining IAMS, you're working with us now, we want you to be at these events. We'd love to partner with you on more. Let's talk about a plan. Give us a call and talk with your marketer, talk with myself. We'd be happy to help, and we'd love to have more people attend these wonderful events with us because, again, and I'm kind of a nerd, we're going to have a great time at Kiawah Island, but you're still steel rubbing steel. Difference maybe you may be on the golf course or holding a drink at the same time, an adult beverage, but you're sharing ideas, and that's what these events are all about. It's a lonely industry only if you make it that way. You can follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, etc., and that's all I've got. So I want to introduce one of my friends and our partners here at IAMS, Sam Weiss. Sam, are you ready for me to switch this over to let you share with us what's new with IAMS or with Ibexis?
You got it. Yes, sir. Justin, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Let me get this switched over to you here, and I think we can. There we go. Okay, so once you accept that, then I think we should be.
All righty. How does that look?
That is perfect. I see just the presentation for the Ibexis FIA Plus. You're a go.
All
Thank you for
right,
your time.
perfect. You bet. Thanks so much, Justin, for having us on today. And we're extremely grateful for our partnership with IAMS, and to everybody who's watching, who's a producer. Thanks for the time and the willingness to learn more about both Ibexis as a company and the FIA Plus. Like Justin said, my name's Sam Wiss. I'm the head of sales and marketing for Life Innovators. We worked with Ibexis very closely on the creation of the FIA Plus product. And that product launched a little bit earlier this year. So what I figured we'd do here with the remaining time is I'll tell you a little bit more about Ibexis as a company to give you a refresher, and then we'll dive into the product. So without further ado, let's get rocking and rolling. So Ibexis is A- rated excellent with AM Best, and that rating was reaffirmed in 2023. So an excellent financial strength for Ibexis with a large institutional backing in InvestCorp. Now, InvestCorp is actually a $50 billion global asset manager, and they have extensive investment expertise that spans across the globe. So what Ibexis does is they get their capital from InvestCorp, and they use InvestCorp as their investment manager. So for Ibexis, this provides great risk-adjusted returns, and it gives them the ability to offer extremely competitive rates on their product, all while keeping the security of an A-rated company. And Ibexis, it's a new name, and although Ibexis is a new company, they actually trace their origins 85 years back to Sunset Life. InvestCorp purchased Sunset Life, renamed it Ibexis, and then shed the legacy business. So there's no old business on the books. Everything at Ibexis is new business. There's not a bunch of legacy and old admin systems that have to play together for you as producers. Everything is new on the Ibexis platform. There's a great leadership team in place. Nate Jamiti, the CEO, he was actually an operating partner at Apollo when first starting Athene, and they also have other executives from Athene, Global Atlantic, Transamerica, Blackstone, you name it. So strong leadership team all across the board. And Ibexis, they're creating new and innovative product, but they're also investing a ton of money into their back end. So when you start doing business with Ibexis, or if you already have, you'll notice it's an all digital experience. All the apps are done through Firelight, like Justin mentioned, but ultimately, Ibexis is wanting to streamline everything and make things as efficient as possible from an operational and administrative perspective. And even in 2023, Ibexis, they've released a bunch of updates to their agent portal. So all the relevant policy information is out there on their portal. All the documents are living on the portal from a policy perspective. And from a new business standpoint, as a producer, you can go out to the portal. If you've submitted a case, you can see that case out there. You can see what's outstanding on it with detailed notes all in one place. So like I mentioned, Ibexis, they're doing a ton of heavy lifting from a service perspective to make things as easy and as seamless as possible for you as advisors and your clients. So let's talk FIA Plus. When you look at FIA Plus, it's really consistent with Ibexis's current product themes, and that's a strong base product with optionality that you don't see in other similar products in the marketplace. So, similar to MYGA Plus, which launched last year, at its core, MYGA Plus, it's a MYGA, it's a multi-year guaranteed annuity, but it has the plus bucket, which is a performance trigger on the S&P 500. And you can think of FIA Plus in the same light. FIA Plus, it's a fixed indexed annuity. It has all the same major benefits that all FIAs have. If you want, it can behave just like the other FIAs that are out there in the marketplace that are built for growth, but it has additional optionality. And that optionality is when a client has gains in their contract, they can elect to use those gains and pursue higher upside potential above and beyond what's available in other FIAs. So, if you're an advisor, you're sitting down with a client, and you're predicting a bull run, hey, you can go risk on in this product. If you're anticipating a recession or some sort of market pullback, you can go risk off. These are choices that traditional FIAs don't have, and that's really what makes the FIA Plus so powerful. even looking at recent times, starting back in 2020, it's been arguably the most chaotic 3 years in most people's lives, right? We had COVID in 2020, and as a result, the S&P 500 lost 34% of its value on the back of COVID. It went on to make a full rebound, and then the S&P, it lost 20% again in 2022. Last year was the worst year ever for a 60-40 portfolio. And now the equities market, we're seeing another run here in 2023. So it's been a whirlwind for clients. They're asking themselves, am I going to have enough money to retire? Are my investments going to keep up with inflation? Am I going to be able to protect what I've earned, but also be able to continue growing my nest egg? With all this economic uncertainty, I think now more than ever, clients need safety, they need flexibility, and they need choices when it comes to their retirement. And that's exactly what FIA Plus gives them. I do want to spend just a minute on the contract specs. So the FIA Plus, it comes in a 7 and a 10-year chassis. The 7-year issues to age 83 and the 10-year will issue to age 78. 25,000 is the minimum and 1.5 million is the max without prior approval, but just let us know if you have any cases above that. It's a full death benefit, and free withdrawals begin at 10% starting in year 2. The contract is also RMD friendly beginning in year 2. You can see the available states here. So currently in 41 states and the District of Columbia, with some more states that are pending and should come on board here in the near term. One other thing I want to note, there's no fee for FIA Plus or any of its features or for any of the index options. Everything is all built right into the contract. There's no fee whatsoever for this product. So let's talk about the initial application process. So as part of the application process, what a client will do is they'll select their initial premium allocations. And these initial premium allocations, they can be made to either the index link strategy or the fixed interest strategy. Now, the index link strategy allocation process, that's exactly like any initial allocations you make in a growth product. There's 3 index options, and a client can allocate to one or more of those indices in any combination. And the initial premium allocations in the FIA Plus, they'll be in the 0% floor, 0 is your hero, and an FIA. And only the 0 floor is available because there's no gains in the contract yet. But each contract anniversary, those index allocations, they can be adjusted. They can be adjusted annually. A client can also allocate a portion of their premium to the fixed interest strategy. That strategy is going to earn a stated fixed interest rate that's compounded daily. But one thing to note, any initial allocations to the fixed interest strategy, or if you transfer money to the fixed interest strategy on a contract anniversary, it cannot be transferred back to the index link strategy. So just want you to be mindful of that when you're making initial decisions. Here are the current index options inside of the FIA Plus and the 3 that I mentioned. So I think Ibexis was very purposeful here in selecting which indices are best for this chassis. And we think these indices each have their own benefits and they complement each other very well. So we have the familiar S&P 500. It's an annual point-to-point with a cap. And then there's also the Bank of America U.S. Strength Fast Convergence Index. This index uses B of A's patented Fast Convergence technology. This index, it's really your home run hitter. It's equity only, and it has an extremely high volatility target of 12.5%. So there's a ton of opportunity here for higher returns and participating in the upside of a rising equities market. Now, we also have the HSBC AI Global Tactical Index. That's a little lower vol target at 7%. In this index, it leverages artificial intelligence and it's investing across a global portfolio of equities, gold, and bond ETFs. So it's more diversified, and this is more for your singles and doubles, but you might get on base a little bit more often. And I'll tell you a little more about these indices here in a second, but let's peek at the current rates inside of FIA Plus. You'll notice the rates, they are banded at 100,000. We're looking at the high band rates here, but one thing you'll notice as you evaluate each floor option, you'll notice the lower the floor, the higher the rate in the form of either a cap rate or a participation rate. The S&P 500 0-4 cap rate is 11% right now. And in the negative 15% floor, there's an upside cap rate of 23.5% on the S&P 500, which is really unheard of inside of FIAs. And in both engineered indices, they have participation rates north of 200% in the negative 15 floor. So extremely competitive rates across the board. And even if you step outside of fixed annuities, so registered index linked annuities or RILAs, we're seeing that space. It's a rapidly growing annuity product category that most of you are probably familiar with. And RILAs, how they work, a lot of them have those negative 10% floors that you see here, which the FIA Plus has. And the rates inside of the FIA Plus are going to be priced so that they're very competitive to what you'd see in RILAs. The FIA Plus, it's a great option for somebody who wants RILA-like functionality. You can get bigger wins than your standard FIA, but you still have full principal protection. It can be an FIA if you want it to be, and it can be a RILA if you want it to be. Your clients can get the best of both worlds in a single product with no additional fees. And just, as an anecdote, we've had a lot of conversations with producers as part of this product launch. And, a lot of people we've talked to, they've been unhappy with some of the renewal rates they've received recently as part of their annual reviews. And Ibexis, how they're looking at the FIA Plus and how they're pricing it, they're pricing it so that the rates can stay consistent throughout the 7 and the 10-year term. They don't have, and like I mentioned, all business at Ibexis is new business. They don't have old blocks of business on the books that they have to subsidize rate for. Ibexis, they don't anticipate having to reduce rates on future contract anniversaries, but we might see scenarios where, let's say, S&P 500 option costs go up just because there's a ton of market volatility and the renewals have to come down slightly. With FIA Plus, a client has the option to move into lower floor strategies, and they have access to higher rates if that were to happen. With other FIAs, you're simply stuck with the 0% floor rate. Again, not a situation we anticipate, but if it were to happen, a client's going to have options from a rate perspective. I want to take a quick look, just a little more in depth of each of the indices. So the Bank of America index. Bank of America, just for a little background, it's actually the largest bank in the U.S. by retail deposits. They have over $1 trillion with a T in consumer deposits. And as I mentioned, the B of A index, it's equity only. The equity index is the Russell 1000, and the Russell 1000 represents 93% of the U.S. equity market cap. B of A, their patented Fast Convergence technology, it powers this index, and it allows it to adapt faster to changing market conditions, and it can actually rebalance up to 7 times per day to maintain that 12.5% vol target. The allocation shift between the Russell 1000 and cash, it can go up to 175% exposure to the Russell 1000, and it uses a performance control mechanism that gives it higher par rates inside the chassis. So I want to take a look at the returns on the FIA Plus for the B of A index. And here on the screen, this is actually an excerpt from one of Ibexis's marketing materials that can be found on their website. So in this marketing piece, you can actually look at the performance of the indices. You don't have to go and run a bunch of different illustrated scenarios. This is showing the best, average, and worst case returns for a continuous 10-year period out of the last 20 years. And one thing to note, if a client elects the negative 15 floor, the worst case scenario over the last 20 years would be a return of 10.2%. So extremely competitive from a performance perspective. Switching gears a bit, so the HSBC AIGT index, this is the other volatility controlled index on FIA Plus. HSBC is actually the 7th largest bank in the world, and it's been around for 150 years with a presence in 66 countries. Like I mentioned, this index has a 7% vol target. It's more diversified, right? It has equities, bond, and a gold component. And on the screen, you can see the different ETFs that are used for those asset classes. It also has a treasuries component, and it has the ability to go both long and short treasuries, which I think is a key component right now, just given future interest rate moves and the impact we're seeing that the Fed has on those rate decisions and what that means for the market. One neat thing with the HSBC index is it's the first of its kind that uses artificial intelligence that's powered by Amazon and AWS to influence the decision-making process. If you're like me, there's practically an Amazon truck parked out in front of my house during the week from all the stuff my wife and I order through Prime. So as you can imagine, Amazon, they have thousands of data points to aid that decision-making process. As far as the index mechanism and how it works, each of the components that we looked at on the previous slides, they're ranked from high to low based on forecasted returns, and then the index shifts its portfolio weights weekly based on those indicators, all while maintaining the 7% vol. And again, from that same marketing piece here, the returns for the index. In the zero floor, the worst case scenario is over 10%, so extremely competitive. One thing that's really nice and what I appreciate about these indices is they both have microsites, and on those microsites you can get real-time performance data. There's a ton of marketing collateral, and you can see what assets they're invested in real time and how they're performing. You know, these indices, they're not black boxes like some of the others that are out in the marketplace. You can see what they're in at a single point in time. So that's the indices. What I'd like to do next is just take you through a scenario so you can really see how the FIA Plus product behaves on a year-to-year basis and how a client can move into lower floors with higher rates if they choose to do that. So this table, it's actually showing the available options for a client in a hypothetical $100,000 FIA Plus policy. Inside the index link strategy, so a client, they're going to have both strategy values, and in the first year, this is the initial premium, and they're also going to have a tracking value. Now that tracking value, it can increase or decrease each year based on index performance. In that first year, the strategy value and the tracking value, they're equal because there's no gains in the contract. And because there's no gains, you can see that only the 0% floor is available. Now, if we move to year two, the client did well in the first year. They earned a positive return and their tracking value grows to 107,350. Now, as you can see, that TVAR column, that's a technical term for it, but for our purposes, you can just think of that as the gains in the contract. That's now 6.8%. What that number represents, that's basically the most somebody could possibly risk while keeping their principal protected. Remember, this is a principal protected product. That is used to determine the floor availability and the max floor that somebody could move into if they wanted to. So in year two, those gains, that opens up the negative 2.5% floor and negative 5% floor as available client selections if they want to. The negative 2.5% floor and the negative 5 floor, they carry with them additional upside potential with higher cap rates and higher par rates, which we saw on the slide with the current rates. If we move to year three, client did well again. They have additional gains. The gains of cumulative gains of 14.8%. All the floors are now available except the negative 15 floor because they're not quite at 15%. But those are all available client selections. And in year four, client earns another positive return. All the floors are available to the client as potential selections on contract anniversary. But just to reiterate, just because these additional floors are available, if a client wanted to, they could simply stay in the zero floor, any other floor that becomes available to them. A client can also, at the beginning of the contract or on any anniversary, set something called their floor limit. So in this example, if at the beginning of a contract, a client set their floor limit to negative 15% each year, as floors become available, the allocations will automatically move into the lowest available floor down to negative 15%. So in this scenario, if they did that in year two, their allocation would automatically go to the negative 5 floor. In year three, the negative 10 floor. In year four, the negative 15 floor, and so on and so forth. And when you look at contract anniversaries for FIAs, clients, they're making two decisions. When you're sitting down with a client at renewal, what indices and what percentage do you want to allocate to each index? With FIA Plus, you're doing the same thing. You're choosing the indices, you're choosing the percent allocations, and then you're just making one more decision, and that's choosing your floor. Clients, they have additional optionality and flexibility each anniversary. So with that, let's look at a couple of examples of these different floor limits in action. This is a 10-year FIA Plus $100,000 initial premium, and this is based on the last 10 years of S&P data. So the light blue that you see is the strategy value. That's, again, based on that initial premium, and that green shaded area, that's the tracking value. That shows the performance of the initial premium and the selected index allocations over time. In this example, the client's conservative. They keep their floor limit at 0% for the entire contract. When they do that, both their initial premium and any gains through their tracking value are downside protected. The worst they can do every year is 0. The product's behaving just like a traditional FIA that's built for growth and accumulation. One thing that I think is really noteworthy is that tracking value, that larger number, that can be leveraged by your clients for withdrawal purposes. So a 10% free withdrawal, that's going to be based on the tracking value. If they surrendered, if they annuitized, if there was a death benefit to be paid, all of those values are based on that tracking value, that larger number. And with a $100,000 initial premium after 10 years, the end result for this client is $213,453. Another example, but in this scenario, the initial premium is again $100,000, but this is a client who has a more risk-on approach. So during the app process, you're sitting down with this client, they want to elect the negative 15% floor limit. They want to move into the lowest floors possible as they come available, and they keep this negative 15% floor limit for the duration of the 10-year term. So as the FIA Plus earns interest over time, you can see from the gray dotted line, that's the worst case scenario. So there is downside risk of accrued gains, not principal, but gains, but they can never go below that blue area, their strategy value or their initial premium with this risk on approach. And, with a client being in the lower floors with the corresponding higher rates, a client ends this 10-year term with $275,000 after an initial premium of $100,000. So a ton of upside here with this more risk on approach. I do want to let you know of a feature that's available inside this product that you and your clients can exercise every year if you wanted to. If you're a producer who, hey, maybe you just want access to and you're going to use the FIA Plus solely on the basis of the competitive S&P rates, or you like the indices that are available, maybe you don't want to utilize the negative floors at all, you don't even want to talk about them or consider them, what you can do is exercise an annual lock every year. When you do this, all the initial premium and earned interest is locked every year, and the tracking value and the strategy value equal each other each contract anniversary. There's not two values to keep track of. Sort of the trade-off here is you won't be able to move into lower floors each year because your gains are locked every year. But with this approach, it can really simplify the story of FIA Plus. And just to give you a graphical representation, again, here you're locking your gains. There's no difference each year between the strategy value and tracking value. The initial premium and earned interest is downside protected and locked each contract anniversary. And then lastly, just one final scenario. This is somebody who they elect a negative 15% floor at issue. They do well for the first 5 years. And then after year 5, they say, hey, I want to take my gains off the table. I want to lock at the midway point of the 10 years. And in doing so, their tracking value equals their strategy value after year 5. Now, going forward, their initial premium and earned interest is now protected. They've got $151,981 after a $100,000 initial premium, and that new amount, that's fully protected. They can't go below $151,981 moving forward in the contract, irregardless of what floor they choose. You can kind of think of this as their new cost basis in the product moving forward. They're taking their gains they've earned in the first 5 years off of the table. I touched on the withdrawals briefly, but again, 10% free withdrawals are available beginning in the second year of the contract. And those are based on the tracking value, again, that higher value. And you can set up systematic withdrawals as well. Those can be set up on an annual, semi-annual, quarterly, or monthly basis up to 10%. The withdrawals come with the contract at no additional cost, and they can be leveraged for the unexpected. So there's both an extended care waiver and a terminal illness waiver. Those are available after the first year of the contract. The extended care waiver, that's confinement in a nursing home or hospital for 90 days, and the terminal illness, that's a diagnosis that's expected to result in death within 12 months. So those are built in as well. Compensation, you can see the street compensation for both the 7 and 10-year product. The 7-year pays 5% for most issue ages, and the 10-year is at 6.5%. And Ibexis, they're also running a special right now and a producer incentive. So this producer incentive, it's going to allow you to earn additional basis points on FIA Plus premium through the end of the year. And you can see the tiers here on the screen. If you submit an FIA Plus ticket, you're also getting an automatic $1 million production credit that'll go towards these tiers. For example, if you submitted a $200,000 case, you would be at $1.2 million for the tier of, for the year for your production tiers. So really, you only need to do $1 million in actual production to reach that first tier of 50 basis points, and the maximum is 200 basis points with $9 million in total production because of that $1 million credit. So, extremely competitive for the producer incentive. And, if you're writing with other carriers, I think this gives you a way to catch up here as we are midway through the year. So great stuff from Ibexis on that front. And we've also had a lot of questions around the kind of business Ibexis will accept from a replacement standpoint. There's been a lot of products written over the last decade, call it pre-2021, in a much lower interest rate environment compared to where we are right now. And clients want to take advantage of that. So Ibexis, they huddled together, they ran some internal calculations to see what they would be comfortable with, and where they landed is Ibexis would consider, for an accumulation to accumulation replacement, up to an 8% loss to the client, as long as the current Ibexis cap rate is double the current cap rate where the client is now. So, just think of it like Ibexis, they have an 11% cap rate right now. They would accept up to an 8% loss to the client as long as the replacing contract has an S&P 500 cap of 5.5% or less. So, clients, they take a little bit of a hit on the front end, but would likely be better off by having their cap rates doubled. For income rider and death benefit contracts, Ibexis, they don't have any formal variants or rules or guidelines, but if a client, if they don't need or want the income or death benefit on their current contract, maybe their financial circumstances have changed, Ibexis will look at those with a letter of explanation from a client. There's no formal pre-suitability process, but just reach out to myself or IAMS, and we can give you guidance based on the situation that you have with your clients and whether or not Ibexis would be willing to look at that business. Obviously, every case pens a full suitability review, but we can give you some pretty good guidance before going through the full application process. So I think it does open up a lot of opportunities there for you. To summarize, Ibexis, a new name, but an extremely strong company with a strategic partnership with InvestCorp and a streamlined digital process to make things easier for you as a producer and your clients. I think we really have a unique and innovative product in FIA Plus with some real differentiators. And there's a great opportunity right now to take advantage of the added producer incentives between now and the end of the year. To close, I just want to thank you, Justin, and thank you at IAMS for your partnership and setting up this webinar. And I appreciate all of you who have joined or are watching this. I wish you continued success in your practices for the duration of 2023 and beyond. With that, Justin, I will turn it back over to you, brother. Thanks so much.
Hey, Sam, thank you again for everything that you do for our producers and for IAMS and for the general retirement community. I really see this product as like you mentioned before, one of the add-on is the ability to have control over your own assets as a client, control over an ever-changing retirement environment, an economic landscape. One thing that you and I both hear over and over again, I'm sure there's some folks on the call that hear it as well, is renewal rates. And as you mentioned before, this really can put the driving force behind those renewals in the client's hands in many cases with that buy-up option. So could be a really great option. Appreciate your time today. Got a brief survey for those on the call. This will help us get information from this webinar out to you. And just got a couple questions here as we do our follow-up, so we know how to appropriately follow up with you here. First polling question I'm going to launch here, and is going to be, do you have interest in appointing with Ibexis to get access, the selling agreement to be able to sell the FIA Plus? Insurance agent license is what you need, just like a typical FIA. But if you do want to go ahead and get that added to your SuranceBay list so you have access to the product in your state, definitely indicate on the poll now if you do, and we'll make sure that we get that information out to you and get you set up with them to also take advantage of that extra promotion on the commission too. As the year goes on, I'm sure we'll see more replacements and more opportunity to pick up that extra compensation too. I'll give it a couple minutes here, and I'm going to go ahead and close out the poll. Okay, and we'll go on to our second one today. I appreciate your time on that. And we talked about the Academy earlier. Anybody that is in the room that has not yet registered for our Life and Annuity Academies coming up, rubbing elbows with top producers, steel sharpens steel, sales ideas and collaboration. If you haven't already and you would like to have that registration link sent over to you, please indicate so, and we can get you set up and make sure we get your travel arrangements and a date selected for an upcoming event that fits you in the near future here. Thank you very much. And if you, of what we talked about today, those of you that would like further information, essentially the sales kit on the product, we've got some additional sales material that speaks to this product that you can use one-on-one with a client, and additional resources to help better present and understand the solution as well. We'll get those over to you here if you indicate so, and we'll send those out via email and get going from there. At the same note too, as we do our follow-up, I don't have a poll on here for this and meant to add it, but if you do have a case that you would like us to go ahead and quote out, we will be reaching out to you. Feel free to email me to justin@iamsinc.com. And whether you work with Laura, Matt, Tim, any of the great resources here, Lisa Marie, myself, we'd be happy to help. If you'll send me any of that information, I'll get it distributed so we get you the appropriate quote and see how the product works on your client. So appreciate everybody's time today, and really, truly mean this, appreciate your impact on our general retirement community. Every one of us is in that spot. I eventually will be too, and I've got to say I work in the best industry that we possibly can, and I'm in the hands of some great people. Thank you for attending. Sam, as always, appreciate you. Have a great day, and we'll be talking soon. Thanks again for attending.